And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
I just stopped the feed for a second there. I apologize. Welcome to the Market Forecast. Usually we have a podcast here on Thursdays, but got a couple people out of the office, so we're going to do a recap. It's always a pleasure to be with you. Today is the last day of the quarter, Thursday, March the 31st. I'm John Hoagland. As always, thanks for hanging out with me after the close here for a little bit. We're going to kick back, relax a little bit, see what the markets did, see what we're looking at for tomorrow. We may have some decent opportunities in the equities. Looks like we've put in a late spike to the downside now, which we're going to be able to depend on a little bit of that tomorrow morning, perhaps. Give yourselves a round of applause for surviving the first quarter of this year. There you go, there you go. But unfortunately, the stock rally has stumbled. This is the first losing quarter in over 2 years. Futures lose about 1% today. Boo. There's murmurs of a faster rate hike schedule now in the wind, I'm hearing, to help fight inflation. Markets look to unemployment tomorrow on the NFP. Unemployment rate is expected to drop by 0.1% from 3.8% to 3.7%, but non-farm payrolls is expected to slow to 490,000 from 678,000. So the NFP continues to slow, but the unemployment rate continues to drop. Is this part of the great, what are they calling it? The great, when people quit, the great resignation? Only time will tell. What the markets do today? Well, crude oil took a little bit of a dive today after Biden announced he is going to be releasing 1 million barrels per day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. He did take some time in his speech to blame petroleum companies for the high prices. Prices went down to and closed pretty near $100 a barrel. The E-mini S&Ps and the Nasdaq, we see what's going on. We've got a pretty good push to the downside here. We're going to be looking at a very large late spike tomorrow morning. Again, the first losing quarter in 2 years. Down a little bit more now than 1% today. Gold closed well, closed above weekly kickoff low and the trend line on some pretty good volume. So it looks like we've maybe broken our bear flag, if you will. The euro buyers have backed off the weekly kickoff high, very unsuccessful in trying to find acceptance above that level. The euro, the 10-year bear flag maintains its structure. Maybe some decent opportunities there, especially as we see rates starting to increase. The natural gas, an attempt to test weekly kickoff highs fails. We're going to see that in the charts very shortly. I'm hoping that everybody had a decent trading day today. It's been a challenging couple of weeks, couple of months, even since the beginning of the year. Whenever there's a market state change, a major market state change like we've seen in the equities, just from grinding higher for 2 years, now we're kind of coming off a little bit. We've got a little down momentum. And perhaps maybe that's going to increase to the downside. I mean, we've had a good couple of weeks of upside momentum. You're going to have to see how the open interest and volume plays out for us today. Again, we're going to look at those very shortly. Good afternoon, Tachyon. Good afternoon, Denise, Devant, Spencer, Vince. Good morning. Yeah, looks like ES trying to move back to the 200 day moving average on the daily chart. Scott saw, and hopefully you conquered. $1,000 profit for you today, Tachyon. Nice job. Spencer, notice we're finally starting accumulated open interest in the last couple of days in the ES. Real curious to see what change today brought. Of course, with that down move, of course, yeah, we're going to be looking at MOC imbalance, 10.2 billion sell side. Yes, yeah, we started to see this move about 2:30. About 2 o'clock, really, when we started to extend the range to the downside. So, hello, James and Steve Roginski. I've been trading futures for what seems like forever, and this is one of the best markets I've ever seen. Although volatile, but it's somewhat predictable. Well, good. You're seeing things well. Make sure you take advantage of it. We are looking forward to seeing your success. Let me get things set up. Let's jump into the charts. Oh, no, I didn't just do that. And I did. Great. All right, let's take a look here. We're going to start with crude oil and the daily chart. Let's take a look at it. All right. Well, we are still, in essence, in a range-bound coiling market. The weekly kickoff level, we've been dancing around it. I'm not really looking at it as an important level anymore. I'm focusing more on the extremes of our pennant formation. Take a look at the 30. Okay, just really magnetized by weekly kickoff level, waiting for new information. When Joe Biden started talking and announced that he was going to release that crude oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, that's a hard thing to say. We had a pretty decent drop to the downside as he was saying that. If you just hit the sell button, it was pretty easy 200 ticks. It didn't go quite as far as I thought it was going to, but again, we're still largely range bound and short time frame controlled. Let's take a look at the S&Ps now. So 4,600, we had one close up and around it, closed below it again yesterday, couldn't hold above it today. Really just another range-bound day, looking like it was just waiting for information. But as the day went on, sellers continued to barrel in. Here's our first losing quarter in 2 years. Lower high. We had a nice run to the upside. What is this break all about? Well, it's a lot of, again, murmurs of faster rate increases. We still have all of the uncertainties in the world. Steve Roginski, I think you were saying yesterday that I didn't notice it until after the recap was over, or the forecast, whichever one. You were a drummer, you're a guitarist. I'm a drummer too. I started playing drums in first grade. I started picking up the guitar when I was in like my late teens, and I haven't been able to put it down since. We'll have to get the band back together. So, yeah, we started adding some open interest the last couple of sessions, but when you really look at it, we kind of fell off as far as momentum is concerned, and now we're going to see if we bring in a whole bunch of new open interest to the downside tomorrow morning. This is what I did. I took out the 30-minute chart out of the main chart here, so I'm going to have to put this back in and redo everything. Goodness. Weekly kickoff high, attempts to get to it, unsuccessful. Boy, there were certainly some fish up here. This D period move up to not take out the high of C period was pretty decent opportunity. It was an all-day sucker. If you started to look for shorts as the market continued to accelerate to the downside, either way, you would have had a pretty good day. Now, on Make Hope Money, we talked about what did we do? We looked at 45.72 as an opportunity for a long. We had some overnight activity there. There was the high here. We said we were gonna take it off. We were gonna cancel it at noon. Just after noon is when we started to head back down to that level. I got in. I took the trade, but I got in at a little bit better level. Finally, we ended up getting stopped out, and then the continuation to the downside. So if you were in Make Hope Money, when I said I should have when I should have canceled the orders at noon, I should have just canceled the orders at noon. But we only lost 3 points instead of 4. So we'll make that up next week. By the way, we are going to be doing Make Hope Money on Tuesday and Thursday going forward. Hopefully you're enjoying it. So there's all kinds of unfinished weak structure down below. When does it become important? When it becomes important. If we continue this move to the downside, these naked points of control, lots of things to be looking at. And don't forget, we have NFP tomorrow. We have unemployment. So that could be a game changer or an accelerator for us. Let's look now at the Nasdaq, which never found any degree of acceptance above weekly kickoff high in the last 2 sessions, continuing the move to the downside today. 30-minute chart. I'm going to put the profile on here. I'm slacking. Opening, not even getting to value low from yesterday. Not even a chance at weekly kickoff high. Coming in, closing out this structural weakness here in this gap. Now that's filled. We've got lots of, again, points of control, lots of weak structure down below, and it becomes important when it becomes important. Looking forward to the opportunities tomorrow because we've got some decent reference with which to look for in the day time frame from today. We got ourselves a late spike. It's all going to be about acceptance or rejection of price in or below that late spike tomorrow morning. Okay, gold, we've had a bear flag that we accepted below. We rejected below weekly kickoff low. Back in acceptance and in range and balance inside of our weekly kickoff level. I'm going to kind of go ahead and say that I think that this bear flag has fallen into balance. Are we starting to see some of the fear back in the marketplace? We did see a spike in VIX today. VIX is back over 20. As a matter of fact, it's back over 21, up at 21.48 right now, last I checked, or at least in a delayed quote. You're seeing some fear coming back in the marketplace. So, I'm going to be looking for weekly kickoff low, weekly kickoff high. Any short time frame levels with which to lean on might be respected tomorrow in gold. Again, we want to see, did we add open interest today, overlapping the higher range? The euro, okay, an attempt to close above weekly kickoff high. 111.93 was weekly kickoff high. 92 and a half ticks was settlement yesterday. We looked above it today. We failed. We failed in overnight session, and we saw some continuation to the downside. Not much in the regular trading hour session. I mean, the failure happened as the London session was opening up. We had some sellers come in, overnight inventory sellers, but in the euro, that London session, you have some longer time frame traders in that. When the market opened, they tried to close up that overnight inventory. They hung tight, and we ended up kind of getting into this structural weakness of this gap. So we're going to have to see if we continue the move down through that gap. The 10-year bear flag, it holds that structure in large part. Here's the 30 in that. Okay, now I've adapted the trend lines a little bit here. I'm more interested in seeing the regular trading hours, highs and lows in this bear flag. Regular trading hour low, regular trading hour low, regular trading hour low. If we start to show acceptance below that, which we are going to be expecting at some point because God knows rates are going higher, there's going to be a pretty decent downside opportunity outside of this. If and when it comes, anything can happen. ECH. And the nat gas. Oh, no, that's not the one I want. I want this one. We had a big push up towards that weekly kickoff high. Unable to get there. 587. We got within about four full pennies of it before we really started to come off. Here's the 30-minute. We opened range value, kind of talked about the idea that there might be some fish up in this area, and it certainly did provide some fish. Direction is always unknown when we talk about fish. Don't know which side of the boat to fish off of. Turns out we should have been fishing off the upside. We had a nice move to the upside, but unable to reach weekly kickoff high. I think that's significant to some degree. What doesn't happen is as important as what does happen. And we got a nice pullback off of that. Just about the same time we got the pullback in crude oil when Joe Biden started talking. All right. All right, so as we start quarter two tomorrow, tomorrow's Friday, thank goodness. It's a short week for me this week. I started this week on Tuesday. Finally feeling like I'm really getting my bearings back as far as the markets are concerned. Starting to see things a little more clearly after taking a little bit of time off. And, hopefully you're seeing things well as also. Tomorrow we will be having the market forecast, but that's going to be it for the week as far as live content is concerned. And I always appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me in the morning and in the afternoons. Let's see what happened in history today. I always like doing this. Just a little going to see what happened. Well, on March 31st, 1889, the Eiffel Tower is dedicated in Paris. That thing's been there for a long time. You try and keep these things positive. 1943, Oklahoma premieres on Broadway. And who didn't want to go see that, right? 1999, The Matrix released in theaters. And as far as music is concerned, a couple of cool things today. Shirley Jones, 1934. Happy birthday, Shirley Jones. She was the Shirley Partridge, if you remember the Partridge Family, if you're old enough. 1937. Today is Herb Alpert's birthday. Herb Alpert, the and the Tijuana Brass, if you remember. The Beatles played their first gig in 1962 on this date in south of England when they appeared as the Subscription Rooms. They weren't even the Beatles yet. Tickets cost 5 shillings, which is about 70 cents. 1972, the Beatles' official fan club closed. Seems like 10 years. Seems like they weren't around for very long, and boy, did they influence music. Speaking of influencing music, 1976, Led Zeppelin released Presence on this date. I think I think all their albums are fantastic. I think Presence was underrated. Angus Young's birthday is today. Who is Angus Young? If anybody can tell me, you'll win the prize. 1987, Prince releases his 9th studio album, Sign of the Times. Time Out magazine ranked it as the greatest album of all times. The greatest album of all times. And another Led Zeppelin thing here. Where'd it go? Oh, Jimmy Page, actually. 1995, Jimmy Page escaped being knifed when a fan rushed the stage at a Page and Plant Gang in Auburn Hills, Michigan. The fan was stopped by 2 security guards, who he knifed instead. After his arrest, he told police he wanted to kill Jimmy Page because of the satanic music he was playing. I guess I've been satanic. Steve, our musical tastes are likely identical. Devont, first one to say AC/DC. Angus. I don't know how he did that without shaking up his brains. Steve, I don't know if you can see it, but this here is an unused ticket to a 1977 Led Zeppelin concert here at the Chicago Stadium. It's when Robert Plant's son Carrick died, and they canceled the rest of the tour. And I didn't own the ticket. Somebody I know had it, and they gave it to me. But it's a legitimate unused ticket for a 1977 concert. You know what the face value is on the ticket? How much would it be to go see Led Zeppelin now? The face value on that ticket is $10. $10. $10. Oh my goodness! I would have bought all of you tickets to go see Led Zeppelin for $10 each. All right, you guys have a good conversation going on here. I love that. Took a bunch of micro yes shorts today, since the final shorts signaled at 2 p.m. I didn't take it. Don't like to initiate risk that late in the day if I'm not already in. But had a great day otherwise. Always good to hear. Ironically, the smallest positions I've had all week. Denise, how do you establish the weekly kickoff high and low? It's a great question that a lot of people ask, and I do kind of keep the ideas for that somewhat proprietary to myself. I do put those out for the markets that I put them out for. It's market profile information, it's technical analysis, it's measured moves, it's a little bit of math and a little bit of intuition, if you will. So even if I could really put a finite system down to put them down to to tell you how to do it, it would be a little bit different because some of it is the intuition. One hint, quite often, even if I'm not looking at the profiles, quite often the levels are relatively close or very close to naked points of control. Naked points of control. So if you're looking at market profile or volume profile, keep those points of control that have not been checked on your charts, and you may start to see a bit of a pattern on the weekly kickoff levels. It's not always that way, but those naked points of control tend to show up where those levels come in. Give you 20. Yeah. Thank you, Rusty. Maybe I could make some money. An unpopular opinion, I never thought AC/DC was all that good. Spencer, to be honest with you, I've got a lot of vinyl. I don't have any AC/DC. I appreciate them now more than I did when I was younger. And to kind of say something as well, I don't have any Kiss albums either. Some people used to say I was a snob, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that. All right. Well, again, give yourselves a round of applause for surviving quarter one. And quarter two starts tomorrow. Get some rest tonight. Thank you for joining me for group coachings, for market forecast recaps, and make Hogue money this week. Looking forward to a good close to the week. And keep praying for peace. Doesn't seem to be anything changing too much over there, and that's unfortunate. Love me some Zeppelin. Yeah. Capital Price. Saw bearish option flows, saw market give up 45.75, started sequence down, filled 55.44 bricks on the market profile. Easy day. Bonus was ES dipping even below by 4 p.m. Eastern, which is a bit unusual, but fine for me. All right. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. I've seen Joe Bonamassa live about 5 years ago at the Chicago Theater. What a great show. What a great show. Yeah, get flat for NFP. All right. Get some rest. Again, be good to yourself. Be good to each other. Keep praying for peace. I'll see you in the morning at 7:45 for the market forecast. Blessings to you all.